There you go. So we're going to say a prayer. All right, taking that breath of love and gratitude with my hands on my heart. So incredibly grateful for this now moment. Grateful to be able to let go of anything that came before this moment and to set aside anything that is to come after our meeting today, knowing that I will easily and effortlessly be able to pick it up if I need to, as will all of us. We're grateful to be the two or more who are gathered in the name and the nature of love. Grateful for our willingness to know full-heartedly our true identity, which is unconditional love, pure joy, wisdom, beauty, clarity. Grateful for our mighty companions, our earthly and heavenly helpers who remind us in each and every moment that that is the truth of our being. We ask that they join us now, surrounding and supporting us, blessing all those here, all who may listen later, allowing us to be good receivers of the all good with open hearts and open minds. Inspiring our conversation today. And we're grateful to accept it and claim it as ours right here and right now, and to share the benefits of all that we receive of this conversation and of all that we are with Mother Earth and all her beings, because we are one. In grace and gratitude, we let it be, and so it is. Amen. So we are still in Chapter 7, the extension of the kingdom, doing Section 8, your boundless self-fullness. And as I was saying to Carol and Carla and Dana earlier, my brain has been a little squirrely today just because there's so much going on here right now. But I still got some really good gems in this section. I think I'll start with 3. Paragraph 3. The extension of God's being is the Spirit's only function. Its fullness cannot be contained any more than can the fullness of its creator. Fullness is extension. The ego's whole thought system blocks extension and therefore blocks your only function. It therefore blocks your joy. And this is why you perceive yourself as unfulfilled. Unless you create, you are unfulfilled. But God does not know unfulfillment, and therefore you must create. You may not know your own creations, but this can no more interfere with their reality than your unanswered unawareness of your spirit can interfere with its being. Squirrel. So, and what I got from that section when I first read it is, this is why I'm still being moved to continue facilitating this group and doing my 2 Cosmic Heart videos a week. Even when it appears in the world that, like, my own personal world has kind of blown up with Rudy's passing. And yes, there are a lot of things to do to take care of, and I'm not worried about any of it. I'm only concerned in the way that I know that I am moving forward one step at a time, sometimes slower than I would like, but I'm doing it. I'm doing it. And everybody has their own things in their life that can feel like their life is being blown up. And so it just, again, another reminder for me to be kind to everybody, because we do not know what anyone is going through. So, yeah, the extension of God's being, it's the Spirit's only function. And then in 7, where he said, its radiance is so intense that it creates in perfect joy. That just felt like a hug. It creates in perfect joy. So, yeah, that's where I'm starting us with. Who else would like to share they got from the section, or something that happened during the week, or what I shared? Go ahead, Carla.
It's not really about this reading. Those are such good gems, but it's helpful, definitely, to see the truth in what we read and to feel expanded or whatever. But we're always, God is only love, right? So love is happening all the time. It doesn't look like it's always. So I'll go into, because everything is a choice. Like, we choose to love our family or our children or our pets, and then they get sick and old, we have anguish. I'm like, what? Would we forget about the joy we had having them here to begin with? How much joy we had. I don't want to let go of that joy. I want to hold on to it. And it looks like in my life, it's many times it doesn't look very joyous. Because we're all co-creating is what if you don't co-creating, you're not fulfilled, right? So we're all co-creating together, right? And it looks like, this is what I call my cat story. I think maybe Carol, you might know, but I don't know how I was, maybe 4 or 5. And I had this little kitten that it's like so orange. It was almost pink. It was very light. And I just loved that kitten. I loved the kitten so much that I held it all the time. And because I held it, and as the kittens, they're not really, I'm a human and we have different immunities, right? That kitten was sick and was so getting sick. You'd see by its eyes, there's like two little beads. And then its eyes were all matted shut. But I loved that kitten, and I didn't want to put it down. Now, this is where love isn't faulty. That was a choice. And then my father came around, and he saw what I was doing to the cat, and he wanted to teach me a lesson, right? So I didn't continue that. And so this is what he created. It looked unhelpful at the time and kind at the time, but in the long run, it really helped me. That he told me to put the kitten down, and I put it down. And as soon as he left, what did I do? Because I just wanted to love it. Right? And my father came back, and he saw me holding the kitten, and he thought I had disobeyed him or not listened to him or whatever. And he got angry and wanted to teach me this lesson. So he took the kitten. Suspend judgment, please. Just listen to the story fully. And he took the kitten. I can feel like tears went well and stuff, but he threw it on the sidewalk and killed it. And he told me it was all my fault. So for my life, and I was like 4 or 5, and for all my life, I was afraid of love, because love is how I got to this place. I love that kitten so much. And because I love that kitten, I thought because of love, he killed it. All this stuff happened. And so I was afraid to love for probably over 3 decades. And when I was, almost 40, I almost started now. And I got this, my house I was living, found this yellow kitten. And it was so small, I had to feel with an eyedropper. And at one point, who was going to have this kitten? There's like several of us in the house. And I'm like, I just felt that nobody could love that kitten the way I could. I was afraid to love. How could I know that? Yet I did. I kept the cat, and the cat, a yellow cat that seemed to hurt me, because what my father did, my love for the yellow cat helped heal me, because I loved that cat. And when it was kitten, it was so cute and I loved it. Got old and was dying, I still loved it. Just because it went doesn't mean it changes my love. So that for most of my life, I was afraid to love that cat, because of all those experiences. We don't see the experiences in our life sometimes. We don't know those experiences are happening all the friggin' time. We just are missing them. But this one I didn't miss. That I knew for a long time I was angry at my father because of what he did. Then I realized I was grateful to my father because of what experience I was afraid to love for over 3 decades. And because of that cat, I learned to love again. And I'm still learning to love things that my mind tells me are challenging or bad or wrong stuff in this world. But love itself is real. And I was grateful to my father for teaching me that lesson through that painful experience. Because 3 decades I was afraid to love, and life gives us opportunities to choose love again. And because I was given the opportunity to have the cat, and I chose it, and I'm really grateful to my father for giving me that painful. For 3 decades, I was not feeling fulfilled. I was angry all the time, and I was not very loving and peaceful. But because I lived like that for 3 decades, I realized that's when I was grateful for my father, because I wasn't going to choose that ever again in this lifetime. And I'm grateful to my father for giving me that experience, whether he knew it or not, that I got to choose how I perceived it, right? And that's not how he was trying to punish me and teach, whatever. God uses everything that everybody chooses. Everything, your husband not opening the mail, somehow all that stuff doesn't look so good. And the mind tells you, I'm sure, the mind is constantly telling you that fear is real and just be fearful, right? And we get a choice if we want to choose that or not. We're given free will. We can choose it. We can suffer like I did for 3 decades. But because I didn't even know I was doing it, but I was choosing again. And I was choosing love. And I'm grateful to my father. I loved my father for unknowingly whatever he thought he was doing. So that allowing God to use it, what he chose, he chose. But God uses it for good, to help us heal, to give us choices to love. That's all life is. It looks like this is real. You owe a lot of money. Is this real? It seems like it. And the mind all the time is, but I can tell you right now that I am much happier because, unfortunately, because of the suffering I chose, because I got to see that it is a choice. I don't have to choose that anymore. And so now, it seemed like a really painful story. I'm grateful for it all. If I let go of anything in my life, any choice I made and judge it as I shouldn't have done that and change it, then I wouldn't be the person I am today. And I like me. I love me. And it seems like a lot of suffering in my life. And it's still kind of occurring, but this is the truth. Who chooses suffering? The false self. The true self knows there is no such thing. It cannot ever. So if you are suffering, remember this: you're choosing wrongly. You're seeing things incorrectly. We are innocent. We are free to choose our life. Free to choose suffering. We choose. God doesn't judge us. You don't want to do that. You don't want to choose suffering. That's not it. Just loves. God just loves, and it's all I'm interested in doing. So all the people that I see the mind gets upset, I do my best to be grateful. Not because of I like what they're doing, but for giving them to give me the opportunity to see myself. That's all everybody ever does. It doesn't do things to me. Does things for me. And I'm grateful. If I think anything should be different, what I'm saying God should be different. I don't want to do that. I'm not interested in doing that. What does it go? But so, I get to see this, read this lesson, and it gives me gems. But we're all surrounded by gems every day, every experience, every choice. And how do you speak to anyone? Anyone, any choice, any experience, even yourself. Thank you. Thank you. It's a perfect prayer. Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Carla. Yep. I must have decided wrongly because I am not at peace. So I'm choosing peace, no matter what's showing up. Yeah. Thank you. Anybody else have anything they'd like to share on this lesson, on what's been shared, on their own experience? Go ahead, Carol.
Hello, everyone. Happy to be here. I just want to tell you of a wonderful miracle that happened this week. Well, actually, last week. I am a part of a huge community. It is it's a continuing care community that starts with when people come into the community, and it looks like a big hotel. It's a very large building. And when we come in to it, we are independent. We have apartments or little carriage houses, whichever we choose. And we live independently. We take care of ourselves. We get around independently. But then if things change in our life as we age, possibly, we might need assisted living. There is that as well in this community as a part of it. And there are about 500, give or take, 500 residents here. So then if you need more help as time goes on, you need nursing care, there is that facility as well, enclosed in this community. And I had a dear friend, I am a game player. That's what I do with a lot of my time. I play games. And so I've met a lot of people. This precious woman came into this community several years ago, and was not happy ever. She's a widow, and she fully believes that, and she was a church-going person for years and years and years. So I would say she's a dedicated Christian lady. Um, her anxiety levels just continued to climb to the point where she could not walk with stability. She got a cane, but that did not help. So little by little, her life got very small, and she no longer came to games because she was afraid of walking. She no longer came to meals. She would ask for meals to be brought into her. So little by little by little, she withdrew socially, and to the place where, I mean, I was befriended her, but she didn't even want phone calls.
Wow.
She didn't, there was no way to contact her. Sorry, this frog that won't give up. But anyway, so a group of us that know her began really praying about it. And finally, and this has been months now, several months, the medical staff here heard about it. Someone explained it to them that this woman is in need and she needs help. And she, last week, now I agonized over it almost daily because I was frightened for her that as things progressed, we were afraid she might take her life, things like that. We were getting nervous about it. So she, through the help of our medical community here, she got into a hospital called Holy Redeemer. It's outside of Philly, which is where I live. And it's got a senior behavioral program. And it's a small program. It's only got like 12 beds in total. So she's going to get, and she was accepting of doing this. She was happy to do it. I think she was crying out for help on her own. But so that was such a relief and such an answer to prayer. Yesterday was her 85th birthday. And so a group of us notified other people, and we decided to give her birthday cards, but nothing crazy. You know what I mean? Because she's not feeling happy birthday particularly, but more like we're thinking of you kind of cards. And we delivered them in person to her yesterday. And she was just so welcoming of them. It was just, to me, it was a miracle. Just a miracle that, because she tried to get into a hospital program on her own several weeks ago, and they rejected her. But that wasn't, I think, where God wanted her. And so when she got into this Holy Redeemer hospital, now you could see it is a Christian hospital. I mean, So they're approaching things from a more spiritual aspect, I would assume, not positive, because I don't know the area super well. So it was just such a miracle that because she had begun to believe that God did not ever answer her prayers, because she said, it says in the Bible, God answers prayer, and she felt that he had ignored her. And so, but I don't think she truly understood who God is and the relationship of her mind. Her level of anxiety was so great that her thinking was not able to be really focused.
Yeah.
And so my part of this was such a beautiful section. And of course, I always love the last section, because the last section is always the summary. So I'm going to read that for us. 7, your self-fullness is as boundless as God's. Like his, it extends forever and in perfect peace. Its radiance is so intense that it creates in perfect joy, and only the whole can be born of its wholeness. And I think about this friend. She's not whole at this point. Her thinking, her attitudes, her mind in its inability to truly focus cannot be whole yet. Be confident that you have never lost your identity and the extension which maintains it in wholeness and peace. She's lost sight of that, this precious one. Miracles are an expression of this confidence. They are reflections both of your own proper identification with your brothers and of your own awareness that your identification is maintained by extension. The miracle is a lesson in total perception. By including any part of totality in the lesson, you have included the whole. And so I saw her in this section, that the reason she cannot trust that God answers her prayers is that her thinking is not focused rightly, and she is misperceiving who God is and God's function. And so if you ever think about this, please say a prayer for this precious woman. Her name is Anne. And she is a wonderful, wonderful, sweet, loving person who is so hungry to be healed. And so to me, this was such a big, big miracle. And so my trust is that the people that attend to her, all the people that she is in contact with there, whatever programs they have for her, that God would be a part of it all with her, whether her angels are there, her guides, whoever, that the support and care of God will be very, very obvious to her as time goes on. And she would shift her focus and her perceptions to healing and to growth and extension again of that joy. Yeah. So I just wanted to share that with you. To me, it was such a relief when we found out where she had been admitted that it wasn't the first place that she wanted to go. It actually became this place, seemed to be where God desired her to go to receive the help. So I just wanted to share that.
Yeah. Thank you, Carol. Yeah. May it be so. And
Thank
isn't it interesting that, like you said, her perception was that her prayers weren't being answered. And if her prayer would have been answered in the way that she thought it should be answered by getting into that first
you. Right.
medical place, then
Right.
wouldn't be where she is now, which is
No,
where she was meant to be. And
absolutely.
so to me, it's like, it's just a big reminder of, um, like Carla was saying, like everything for our good, even if we cannot perceive it. So even
Right.
Anne's anxiety and her making her world smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, her feeling of separation from the oneness of all life and the oneness of God is a demonstration that of what we would like to not do, right? So thank
Yeah.
you, Anne, for this demonstration so that we can choose differently, so that we can choose the expansion and
Right.
not the isolation and the separation and the littleness.
Right.
Let us move into that fullness and
Playing
remember that
small.
there is
Remember,
nothing.
yeah, Jennifer's playing small. That's what she had done because she
Exactly.
did not know any differently what to do for herself. So her
Right.
life became small and her
Yeah.
choice is very small. Yeah. And it is that lesson, isn't
Yeah.
it? It's really that lesson. Yep. So I'm grateful for this little place where I can share. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Carol.
I'm gonna share a quote that I saw. Sometimes when you think something didn't work out for you, in reality, it did work out for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've had that demonstrated to me in my life so many times. You know, like thinking about back when my husband decided that his midlife crisis was going to be that he didn't have diabetes anymore and stopped treating his diabetes for 2 years, which ended up in how he got sick to begin with over like 12 years or so ago. I can see now, like, if that would never have happened, I wouldn't have been looking for something to help relieve the overwhelm that I was feeling, the crazy thinking that I was feeling. I wouldn't have found Disappearance of the Universe. I wouldn't have dedicated myself so strongly into A Course in Miracles. I wouldn't have found Jennifer. I wouldn't be with all of you. Like all of the things that have come from that one seemingly wrong decision. It wasn't wrong. He was brave, and I get to benefit from it.
Well, it makes me a couple of thoughts I have as I have the same, like I have many experiences too, and a recent one where you pray for something and then you don't realize that the thing that happened that you didn't actually want to happen was the answer to prayer.
Yeah.
Um, I had it with like an infected finger a few months ago where I was like, I had this sore on my finger that I'd been treating at home for like months. And then it finally like kind of healed, but then where I had the bandage created like an infection and then I got really bad. And I was like, God, and finally I was just like, God, I'm done with this. Can you please help me like figure out how to heal this? And I was really frustrated. And then it got really, and it was just a sore, but I had been bandaging it for months and I was like tired of it. Well, then I got infected and then and we were going away. So I had to go to the doctor. And so and I was so, and then like it had gotten so bad that like I was like came out of the doctor feeling so badly that I had let this thing get like that it got so infected so badly. And then I realized that was my answer to prayer because I wasn't going to the doctor for it. And it was finally like it got so bad I had to go. And I was like, okay, this was the answer, God. I didn't want to go, but like I wanted it healed and I wasn't healing it at home as so this was my, and in so many of those situations, sometimes where it's the thing that you have in your mind that you don't want is actually the answer. But
Yeah.
and I was thinking about I don't know the reference in the course, but I know that it talks about this is why I need to, because a lot of my reading is I listen, and so I need to get the book because then I can go back and underline this purple version. I have the blue version, but where it talks about, and I don't remember if it's in the workbook or the text, where it talks about that the answer, like not the answer, but like your awakening is always there. It's just when you're, it's almost like I see it as like when you're ready, like, and the course talks about that, that your awakening will not happen until you're ready. And at that time, then you will see it. And so I think about that sometimes, like if in our life review, or if when we're not in our bodies, will we go back and see how many times God was trying to show us a lesson? We just didn't see it until maybe the 10th or 15th or 20th time. And I thought about that with Carla's story. It's no accident that, you know, her healing from that experience when she was 5 occurred through another cat when she was in her 30s, I imagine. Right. But that's not to say that God wasn't trying to bring healing to that when she was 15 or 20 or
Right.
25, or, you know, there's like and we all have that. How many times do we repeat and go through these patterns when the healing option is there? We're just not in a place to see it. As the course says, like your awakening happens at the time you're ready for it, or when you are ready, it's there. It's kind of like whenever you're ready to wake up, that is there. And Jennifer did a post a few weeks ago that really spoke to this idea of like where she used to get so frustrated that people didn't see what she saw. She's like, how is this not clear to you? This is so clear. And I have a situation with a friend about that. I'm like, how are we still doing this? I can't believe you don't see this thing. And she talked about, and she used to get so frustrated, and then she realized they weren't at the frequency to be able to see it, like, right, their vibration, they weren't there, they couldn't see the thing. And so it makes the same thing with the course, like when you're ready to see it, it's there, it's always been there, it's like never not been there. God says that, Jesus says that all throughout the course, it's there all the time. Your wholeness is there, present all the time. So your answer to prayer is present all the time, but you may not have the eyes to see it.
Yeah.
And then, so then the other thing I was going to share, I missed last week, and it was a section I really did want to read. So I read it last night before I read this section. And so as Carla was talking, I was trying to think about, or no, as my mom was talking and sharing her story, I was trying to think about where does this concept go? And I thought about this group because Carla talks about the ego a lot. And sometimes like, well, we talk about the ego, but we don't always we don't always say what it is. But in this section from last week, very clearly, the course talks about what the ego is. So in chapter 7, section 7, the ego's use of projection, in paragraph 5, it's all about illusion. But this whole idea of like, you cannot perpetuate an illusion about another without perpetuating it about yourself. There's no way out of this because it is impossible to fragment mind. To fragment is to break into pieces, and mind cannot attack. The belief that it can, a fallacy which the ego always makes, underlies its whole use of projection. This is because it does not understand what the mind is, and therefore does not understand what you are. Yet its existence is dependent on your mind because it is a belief. So this is where it says very clearly in sentence 7, the ego is therefore a confusion in identification, which never had a consistent model and never developed consistently. It is the distorted product of the misapplication of the laws of God by distorted minds, which are misusing their own power. And so in thinking about that idea of like, it's this thing, it's this, the answer is always there. The wholeness is always there. The love, God is always there. It's like we're walking around and we just can't see it because we have this distorted thinking. And I imagine when we leave our bodies, like, and we look back, we'll have all of these like moments where we're just like, oh my gosh, I can't, like, really? It was right there and I didn't see it. I was right. It's like walking around like a dark room, or you're in one of those games where you're like, I was so close, but I couldn't touch it. That's what I think about. So yeah, that the consistency of God's laws and the way everything is set up is so clear and logical in the course, and that's what I love. And it's our own distortion of it that prevents us from seeing what we need to see and understanding what we need to understand until we're at a place where we can, and then it's right there. It's not like God just placed it there. It's always been there.
Yeah.
And that's, I'm seeing my friend as you're speaking. It's this confusion that has just grown and grown and grown. Her distress, her anxiety, her confusion, her depression, all of that has contributed to her misperception of life, of God, of herself, to the place where she became almost immobilized by life, because of all of this. And so my prayer for her is, through whatever program is available in this facility, God can reach her. Angels, guides, whoever, you know what I mean? Whoever is there available for her can help her see and clear the morass of her totally unbalanced thinking at this point, so that she can see God never left her. God is always God. Love is there. This is who she is. And to make those choices and decisions, and the changes in the shifts in her thinking can take place. Because this is what I saw as you were talking, Dana, that, this is what's happened on such a large scale at this point over the period of years she's been in this community. And she
Well, it's
felt,
also,
yeah, she felt it started when she came here. She's been here, I'd say, over 5 years. And she just had her 85th birthday yesterday. So, yeah, I mean, it's very clear in what you described, in Carla. You know what I mean? It's all the same. It's all
well,
our.
there's a false belief somewhere in there, and it's the strength of
Oh,
our attachment
absolutely.
to the false belief
Yeah. Oh,
is
yeah.
the, how do I say this? The circumstances in our outer world of our life mirror the strength of our attachment to a false belief. So if we are so deep, if we're in something really hard and deep, then it's probably going to result in some really intense outer experiences and inner experiences for you to actually be able to release that. Like, that's, if it's something you're holding loosely, you're like, eh. But if it's something that's really deep seated, those are the areas that and everybody has them. Like, these are our main lessons in
Yeah.
whatever
Yeah.
lifetime we're
Yeah.
living, this one
Yeah.
in particular
Oh,
right
yeah.
now. But it's the strength of that false belief in our life
Right.
determines how intense, I think,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
what the circumstances on the outside look like
Yeah.
around that
Yeah.
area.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
just
I
think
feel
about
it's
it.
a
Just pray for this lady. Her name is Anne,
yeah,
just because she needs a lot of support. She truly needs a lot of support.
yeah. The thing that was coming to me though, as both of you were speaking, is that since we're one, my prayer is that we may perceive her as already perfect, whole, and complete,
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
and not,
Absolutely.
and everything that is happening to her is for her good, and that
Right.
that she is not out of her right mind, that she is perfectly in her right mind, and that it may seem that she is not in her right mind, but that's not the truth of her being.
Exactly.
The truth of her
Exactly.
being is her Christed self. And so my prayer is that we may see that and hold her in that space.
Right. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
So
Thank
thank you.
you, Dana and Carol.
Yeah.
Kamira.
Did you want Dana and Carol to go first?
No, I said thank you, Dana and Carol.
Oh, okay, no problem. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Yeah, this topic of prayer is a challenging one for me, although I have to say that it's becoming more reflective of what the course is asking. So I remember even asking Carol, and I remember just putting it out there in our groups that doing the divine experiment in Jennifer's class for months and a year with Priscilla for my brother, just doing everything, and then him getting sober or lucid for a few months and then going back to what looks like what the world would call extreme psychosis. And about a year and a half ago, you guys, I've told you about where my condo is. It's still in that shape. I had to refinance again, but only to help my mom to buy him a place. We got him a little cute house, just so he wouldn't be on the streets, he'd be safe. And within, like, he was good, because he was, I think, either sober or not using that much. And I think he has the bipolar in addition to so it's dual diagnosis in addition to the substance abuse. So then, like, very shortly, he started just attacking again with his just words and what he was going to do. And recently, like, I'm going to take you guys to court. You've done this and that. And, and it was such an attack. It felt like such an attack always. Like, how could he, after so much love, attention, taking care, do this? And of course, a normal mind would say, well, he's addicted. And that's why, but it still didn't make sense to me, and all these prayers for him to get better. And then I think I'm coming to realize, as I'm getting older and he's getting older, this has been going on for decades, that maybe he's not here to necessarily get better in this lifetime. Maybe he's here in our family to teach me unconditional love, for me to not see him as attacking me when he is in those places, but to hold that higher level of consciousness and to remind him, mind to mind, not words, that you are perfect, you are whole, you are complete. It is the biggest lesson. It is. I have so many freaking lessons in this lifetime, you guys. It's sometimes I'm like, oh, I didn't. I don't think I asked for all of this at once. My ex, my mom, my brother. It's like too much, but I'm getting to a more yeah, I'm not as reactionary. I'm noticing that perhaps prayer isn't getting what we want, like a family member to get better, but more it's like maybe, that would go against his soul um, decision before he came, that this is not about him getting sober or getting it together. It's more about me forgiving what I see with the body's eyes. It is a darn challenge, though, you guys. I have to say it is very, very difficult. But you guys remind me that it's possible. So thank you, everybody. Love you all.
Yeah. Thanks, Samira.
Mm.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, how would I have, in most circles of humans that I have contact with, say to anybody that Rudy's getting sick was perfect? Like, other people would say, that's an insane sentence, like him getting sick and having to go through all this medical stuff and all the medical debt and then dying, like all of that is perfect. How can that even be? But I know in the core of my being that somehow it's perfect. And I see little glimpses of how it was perfect for me. And somehow it was perfect for him, even if it was just seeing how I could love him through all of that, and maybe not to the degree that I would have liked. I mean, there's definitely regret in some of the ways that I held him and treated him, thinking that he should be doing better. He should be doing this. He should be doing that. He shouldn't be doing this. But in the end, I loved him with the fullness of my being. And, if that's what he was supposed to get in this world, to me, that is enough. That is enough. So it may not have been the answered prayer that being answered in the way that I thought it should be answered, because my prayer would have been if his kidney was miraculously healed and he didn't have diabetes or kidney disease or heart disease or liver disease or any of it, that would have been my preference, I think. But I'm not all seeing, all knowing, omniscient being. So there's this too is perfect exactly as it is. And that's why I think I can remain at peace through all of it. For the most part, I have my human moments, but at least God, I'm good enough to myself to give myself grace for that. So
That's
yeah.
so beautiful, Linda. And, you know, I think, and maybe this was the case for you a little bit too with Rudy, but, you know, I so identify with the body as the healing, like you know, healing and the mind, right? The mind of someone that is not in their right mind is the brain of someone that has mental illness. That's part of the body. But the mind of God is always pure. It's always whole. It's always
Yeah.
there. So because we're so used to, so used to seeing with the body's eyes, it's so challenging still after all these years of course and work and to still see with something beyond the body's eyes, to see
Yeah.
that this may mean something completely different than your body's eyes are reflecting back to you, your ears are reflecting back to you.
Yeah.
It's challenging, right? But I
Yeah.
think it's possible. I get small doses. Like he sent this rant and he was just going off, you know, and he fluctuates, right? He goes back, he's a little bit lucid one day, he's really out of it, and then, you know, after sending this rant about how horrible, you know, my mother has been, you know, whatever, it doesn't matter. And then the next day sends this picture. He's a carpenter. He loves to do woodwork. And he sent this picture of it. And I said, beautiful. I see how much you love to work with wood. And that would not have been possible in the past, because I would have been like, how dare he sending me this after he said that yesterday? And I would try to
Right.
rehash what he said the day before. And I thought, it doesn't matter. Like, it's just give love, extend love in this moment. He has a lucid moment, extend love. That's what's important. So I'm slowly, it's a big, big lesson. I'm telling you guys, it's not something that comes to me easily, you know, but I'm working on it.
Yeah.
I'm working on it with God. I'll just say that. I
Yeah.
can't do it alone.
Taking the moments of grace when you get them. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks, Samira. Go ahead,
Thanks.
Carla.
Okay, I mute myself. So I just wanted to remember this experience. They were like 5 of us in Masterful Living that were they're all gonna meet, and we're all gonna meet at your house, remember? And me, the one in Portland, the one furthest away, was the only person who came. The other 3 were on the East Coast. They didn't come. Remember the one thing we did there then that week or whatever?
Yeah, we did the gold, or the gold ray
Well, we committed to
resurrection
awakening
ray.
no matter what, that we're willing to go through what we didn't know. I didn't know when I left Portland. I had no idea. If I had known, I probably wouldn't have chosen it.
Yeah.
But it's so amazing how God uses everything. So I know that I want to say it poorly because speaking is of the ego, really. Because the true self, they just know the truth. They communicate. But in a way, you make this commitment and you're doing really, I just want to say, I think you're doing really well.
Yeah, you too, friend, with all you're dealing with. Yeah. Thank you. Fabi.
Yeah, just quickly. Sorry.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
I was driving from a medical appointment myself, so I was close with the camera closed, but I appreciate what you shared, Linda, and but everyone, but Linda and Homera especially, because I can relate completely with both, because like my son's situation is like the diabetes and also the mental stuff, and right now he's getting better, breathing on his own, but he can't move, and he's very, very dependable right now, very vulnerable. And I mean, it's hard to to realize that it is a blessing in disguise. But I see that it brought us closer and the family came together. I was not speaking with a sister like for over a year for something ugly that happened, but it like if nothing happened, like she's been there to supporting him. Um, so it is beautiful to see the support of the family. Um, I still feel like the world like came and collapsed on top of me,
Yeah.
and it's not done because at least you, Linda, now you can um, just accept and rest and understand. But I'm still in the middle of it, like seeming turmoil. Like now I need to look for nursing homes. He wants me to bring him home, but he's too heavy for me. He needs assistance for everything still. And I don't know, just trying to take it one day at a time and affirming that it is indeed a blessing and everything is for my best and highest. It's hard to figure it out sometimes exactly how, but I do see the positive things that it brought for us,
Yeah.
not just for him, for us. And yeah, thanks to Amira too for sharing that because uh, yeah, like she said, maybe what I want or is not what he signed up for. Maybe that's not in his script. And thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Fabi. Kathleen, I just wondered if there was anything you would like to share or add.
Not really. I mean, it's just wonderful hearing everybody speak. I just came from Robert Perry's. He's doing the whole month on what is a miracle. And I was just going to kind of read through it, but are we done at 1 or 1:30? I can't remember.
We're done at 1, but share. Yeah, we can hang out. Anybody that needs to leave can leave.
It's nothing that you guys don't know. It's just, it's good to review it. Like, what is a miracle? Well, it's an act of love. And the book refers to acts of love, interpersonal love acts, way more than love to ourselves in our heads. And then being a miracle worker, which is what we're going to do this month. He's going to break it up into stages. And like this week, we're all going to practice holding ourselves ready to give miracles. So, but we're just going to focus on the holding ourselves ready part. But the 7-step process is to hold myself ready at all times, to notice another's need and my impulse to respond, to ask, what should I do for him? Your holy son, ask the Holy Spirit. Give the miracle gladly as a way to give the receiver a new self-perception, the receiver. Trust that they receive my gift and that the whole sonship does too. Accept their gratitude if offered and accept God's gratitude. I receive an increase in love, strength, and spiritual progress by doing these acts for others. Our goal will be to make miracles an automatic habit, and they will be life-changing. Anyway, just good to review all this miracle stuff. The miracle is a gift from me to someone else, usually in the form of an act of kindness or a helpful verbal message. You can do it online, emails. It's designed to help the recipient, especially by changing the recipient's perception. It's motivated by an impulse from a deeper part of our mind, the subconscious, and its specifics should be guided by the Holy Spirit. Though a gift to someone else, it will also bless me. It will undo something hurtful I may have done in the past, and it will return to me often immediately in some form that helps me with my own needs. So it's just miracle review. And then Emily talked about making it a habit, and there's 3 parts of a habit. There's a cue when I see someone in need. There's action, express love to them in the form my guidance directs, and then the reward, knowing that this is how I find happiness and peace. Then they asked, which level of need am I watching for or noticing, just as a test? Do you notice even when needs are expressed, I don't really notice them? Needs that are stated or completely obvious, do I notice those? Needs the person's feeling but not expressing, am I noticing those? Needs the person has but they're not aware of, am I noticing those? And needs that may arise but they have not as yet even, no, they're not even arising in that person yet. So these, like, really being perceptive of other people. And then let into my awareness my natural impulse to help. The deeper level of the subconscious is filled only with the miracle drive. This produces miracle impulses, the impulse to express love and to help. Where expressed, these impulses result in closeness to others. These impulses can be covered up, making it harder for them to reach consciousness. Those are all the blocks the ego provides. They can also be distorted, maybe taking the form of sexual impulses. But I need to let them into consciousness, for they are what powers my miracle. Anyway, so for this week, we're practicing being ready, hold myself ready to notice. But we're all doing this.
Yeah.
Just by what everyone's saying, everyone's all doing it, doing miracles. There was a guy last night at the drum circle. He was outside the group fixing a fishing net. And I went to my car because my small intestine was really hurting a lot. And I got out of the car and he's just standing there staring at the drum circle over there. And he's like, have you seen a woman who's picking up stuff off the beach? And my gut is like, I'm like, well, I pick up stuff off the beach. And he looked at me, he said, are you the one that did it? He said, somebody threw all these bags of trash in my truck. Is it you? I was like starting to laugh. I'm like, no, I do this thing. I call it pick up pesky pieces of plastic. Nothing. This woman, I have to find this woman. She doesn't know it, but she's been videotaped. I'm going to find her. I'm like, well, it could be a forgiveness opportunity. I thought, I'm just going to practice on this guy. I know that he's not going to let in anything I say. I'm just going to say this stuff. Well, it could be a forgiveness opportunity, No. And then just as the time went by, my friend who just wrote a book and I just edited it, he came and sat down by me and we're talking about miracle impulses because he wrote a book about a woman who walks up out of the water and changes everybody's lives. And then I said, well, this guy's, he's got a problem with this woman dumping stuff in his truck. So he looks over at the guy and he says, is there any way I could help you, like clean up the trash and stuff? The guy goes, what are you talking about? What are you getting into this for? Todd goes, I'm going to go now. Todd leaves. The guy goes over to his truck where Todd was parked right next to him, walks back to me and says, what's that guy? Why did he shake his head at me? What? So this guy reminded me of, gosh, the guy that I was lovers with a couple weeks ago, so much like him. Nothing that I was saying could get in that I'm aware of. But hopefully, like later, maybe something I said could creep in there, because I was talking about, we can choose to be happy by just letting stuff go. Maybe you could just let it go. Maybe you could just let it go. Maybe you could. He says, I'm perfectly happy. You have no idea who's standing in front of you. You have no idea who's standing in front of you. I'm the best fisherman on this beach. I thought, wow, this is such a trip. I'm talking to the ego.
Yeah.
But anyway, I didn't feel afraid of him or anything but loving. I tried to say, what's your name? Wouldn't tell me. I tried to shake his hand. But he was, he's scared. I could tell at a deep level, there's something, he's either got some kind of mental illness going on, or he's just, who knows, scared for some reason. But my own reactions were loving. And I kept putting my hand on his arm and trying to tell him that, it doesn't matter, you can let it go. Anyway, that was my experience. Who knows what happens in his mind now after running into me by my car, throwing up in agony.
Aw.
I'm fine now.
Yeah. Well, what I'm knowing is that as your intention was to be loving, that some part of him is accepting of that love, even if he doesn't see it or express it.
Right. Yep. It's up to him now, or the Holy Spirit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's just nice to feel safe, you know, because of the Course in Miracles, because of all of you, because of just everything I've always known about God. It's just nice to feel safe in the world. It's like we have this choice of which world to see, and one of them doesn't have any fear in it.
Yeah.
You know, it's just no fear, God's forgiven world. No
Yeah.
fear.
Yeah. That's how our intention is to
Yes.
walk through this world without fear.
I was listening to Eckhart Tolle this morning. He was saying beliefs are in your mind. He's like, he was talking about the difference between beliefs and faith and trust. And he doesn't use God, but he's like, there's something greater that you can have faith in and trust. You know, forget the beliefs. You know, beliefs are about judgment and all that.
Yeah.
Tricky.
Can be. Really
And
can
my
be.
book came out. I'll just keep showing it to people because maybe it will help other people in your life who need balance work and strengthening and everything.
Yeah. Gentle Balance Exercises for Seniors by
Out on
Kathleen Hogan. Look it up.
Give me a review. Okay.
It's gonna be on Amazon?
It
I
is on
think
Amazon
did that. Okay, Gentle Balance Exercises.
for Seniors by Kathleen Hogan. Mhm.
Beautiful. Thank you, Kathleen. I'm a fan.
Ew. 3 months of grueling work learning how to
Oh,
do this.
Oh, gosh, but it will bring good fruit. Thank you. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
awesome. Thank you, everybody. Next week, we will continue in chapter 7, section 9, the confusion of pain and joy. Just a couple pages there. I'm not going to read our thing from today. So I don't want to go any further over. I have another appointment coming up soon, but I can just say that today's lesson is I feel the love of God within me now. And I don't know about y'all, but definitely feel the love of God within me now more than I did when I started. No more squirrels in my brain. Thank you, everybody. I love you so much.
Thank you, Linda, for
Yeah.
hosting.
Thank you. See y'all next week.
Bye.
Bye for now.
Bye.